don't know, can you just explain what CAMHS is as well?
Yeah. So child and adolescent mental health teams, which see children, well, it can be preschool up to 16, 18, depending on the teams. And they are unfortunately probably better known for being in the news a lot, for having a lot of pressures, waiting times, but essentially they are the mental health service for children in the community, predominantly referrals from GPs. And they'll be run slightly differently across different health boards, but that's the main service for child and adolescent mental health.
Yeah, great. Thank you, because some people might not know what that is, and I mean, like you say, you know, often there are long waits, you know, for accessing that service, unfortunately. So you know, it's great to know, you know, I think it's useful for people to know that, you know, if they want to do something positive to support their children, support themselves and support their families, then these skills are really helpful. Yeah.
So I think
would you mind, I was just going to ask you, would you mind giving an example? Because I know when we talked before, you mentioned that there was somebody who, you know, was able to come off that list, you know, come off from having that because of the progress they made.
Yeah, so that was a group that my colleague ran in the team further north, and that in itself was exciting, because for me to pass it on and have someone else run this was great, you know, that it was packaged enough. But yeah, they were actually very nervous about running the group, and I think they only had 4 or 5 parents. But what we found is that once parents do join in, they tend to stick with it. And one of the cases was a dad whose son was on the waiting list, in particular to see a psychiatrist, because they felt that he was severe enough that he might need medication. And at the end of the group, his dad said, "My son doesn't need to see he doesn't need to be part of a mental health service," and took him off the waiting list, which, yeah, was good news for funding, but just that he could see, I think I can manage this at home.
That is huge, isn't it? Going to them from not feeling like you can cope, from not feeling like you can manage at home, because having some skills, some really clear, simple skills that you can follow, you can revisit, and you can use over and over and over again. It's just huge, isn't it?
It is, and I think there's also, it's hard to measure this, but it has been researched that there's a value of a group when you put parents together, or anyone together who's they realize and they share that they have the same difficulties. Suddenly those difficulties are shared, the burden's lessened, and they feel more normalized. And then also by the end of it, towards the 7th session, you see a lot of peer-to-peer learning. So I sometimes find you sit back and actually they are advising each other, and they're suggesting, well, why don't you try this or that? And you can sit back, and that's more, they get more from that than me, facilitator. So it's hard to measure how much of that, but I think that has makes a big difference.
It's huge, isn't it? The magic that, you know, what you're sharing about the magic of a group, and the same for me with all the sessions that I've run over the years. You know, you see the magic of the group coming together, and and that sense of not feeling alone, of having some skills, of trying them out. You know, some people are quite unsure about trying them, and then having those successes with trying them and sharing different ways and ideas of how you could implement them is really exciting. And just, you know, you just watch that transformation happening before your eyes. And it's, for me, I find it a real pleasure to hold space for people within which they learn and to do that.